Hello everyone, this is Taylor Edrington with Royal Gorge Anglers in Canon City, Colorado, the only Orvis Endorsed Outfitter and oldest fly shop and fly fishing guide service on the Arkansas River. Thanks so much for viewing, folks. Exciting times on the Arkansas and in south central Colorado as we move into the month of March. One of our very best months of the year on the Arkansas and many of our other fisheries in the area as things really start to move into the spring season. Fish are very hungry, you know, coming out of that winter kind of doldrum, and there is a lot of bug activity. Just want to, you know, kind of touch briefly on all that is beginning to happen on the Arkansas, what's going on currently, and kind of get you tuned in for March, which is, you know, like I said, one of our best months of the year in this area. Whether you're fishing the Arkansas, you know, parts of the South Platte, even backcountry, you know, streams at, you know, mid elevation in Colorado. So, what's going on right now? You know, basically, flow rate is hanging at a steady 500 CFS in Bighorn Sheep Canyon, right around 400 CFS in Salida, and obviously in, you know, the 200 CFS window near Granite. We're focusing all of our guiding efforts in Bighorn Sheep Canyon, and specifically about Rincon downstream, as well as Canon City. Canon City has been fishing extremely well over the last several weeks just because we're so much warmer downstream. Average air temp is typically 10 degrees warmer in Canon City than it is in Salida, you know, 5 to 10 degrees warmer. So we're starting to really see heavy stonefly molt activity, which is typical for late February and early March. In fact, during the really warm spell about a week ago, we saw some of the heaviest stonefly molt activity we've seen in the last 2 or 3 years. And then we got a little bit of a cold snap, and that kind of toned down a bit. And now, as we kind of move into warmer weather to start March, you know, we've got, at least for the Canon City forecast, forecasted highs in the 60s and even 70s for the next 10 days through the extended forecast. So we expect that to really turn on again here this week. And then, you know, obviously, first couple weeks of March, we begin to see some you know, heavy blue-winged olive nymph representation in the substrate, and so fish begin to really kind of key on blue-winged olives as well in the nymph form, and sometimes you'll see some sporadic and you know, emerging blue wings and adult activity in the first couple weeks of March, and then that really gets going when we start to see mid 40-degree water temperature readings, and which typically happens about mid-March. So, you know, early March, mid-March, great fishing. Some different fishing, obviously, a little bit more nymphing in early March, and then as we hit mid-March, we typically see a big upturn in adult hatch activity with the blue-winged olives, and you know, just going to be great fishing this March. We should have really consistent flow rate. We may potentially see them bump flow down for brown trout fry emergence and rainbow spawning here in the month of March. However, there's a really good chance it could stay fairly steady in that 450 to 550 CFS window, which is just fine. But we are expecting a pretty substantial snowpack. I mean, it really depends on what's going to happen in the next 2 months, obviously, as to where our snowpack ends up, but as of right now, we're a hair over 100%, and of average, and I expect it to probably maintain there with the few little storms we've got going on. If it really heats up, gets warm and windy up in the high country, we could lose a lot of that snowpack. So we're going to see what's going to happen in the next 2 months, but that will really tell us what flows are going to look like in April, especially. They may want to release a little bit to make room in our upstream reservoirs for a little bit heavier snow melt in June, in which case we may see CFS in the 500 to 600 CFS window in Bighorn Sheep Canyon, which we have seen many years in the April window, which I honestly, personally, and a lot of our guides will attest to the fishing being much more consistent in the 500 to 650 window than if it's lower. The caddis hatch moves faster at lower water. It's just a less consistent movement for the caddis hatch. A little bit more sporadic BWO activity sometimes at lower water. So we really like, to see those flow rates in the 500 to 650 window in April. So we'll kind of see where we end up there as we get closer. As far as what we're doing right now, obviously a big nymphing focus with the stonefly molt. We're really focusing on lighter stoneflies in the morning, even attractor stoneflies like rubber legs, stuff like that. I'll show you a few representations. And then, really also, using a lot of free-swimming caddis larvae. The Rhacophylla caddis is prevalent in the water column right now. Still looking at midge life cycle stuff, as well as, kind of starting to fish a lot more BWO nymphs and potentially emergers in the substrate. So, assuming you're using a Western nymphing rig with an indicator, heavy fly up front, and then trailing smaller flies, typically we want that stonefly up front. Like I said, rubber leg stones, and Larry Kingery's rubber leg stone has been around forever. This is your lighter rubber leg stone that I would fish in the morning, and then you've got your darker rubber leg stone to fish in the afternoon. Again, that's more of an attractor pattern. It moves really well. Fish seem to really be reacting to it, especially when water temp gets around 39, 40 degrees, which on the warm days we're seeing quite often. A little bit more realistic representations that are working really well. The soft shell stone is a really nice, larger representation for that morning golden stone. A little bit slider profile morning fly. The John Barr's tungstone has been a really good fly. In the afternoon, for a little bit slider profile, stone fly, the 20-incher, Larry Kingery's version, which we tie here locally. And then, another kind of rubber leg representation that's fished well in the afternoon when water temp is a little bit higher is Frank Smethurst's Stone Bomb, another really good pattern. Like I said, we're involving free-swimming caddis larvae heavily in our nymph rig. Rubber leg chartreuse copperjohn's a fantastic fly to kind of really focus on and make sure you have that in your fly box, definitely. Barr's uncased caddis, a little bit larger profile. Free-swimming caddis larva that fishes really well during this time period. And then Larry Kingery's tungsten larva, which has been kind of our breadwinner in March and even April for that larger free-swimming caddis larva, as well as tied in smaller sizes for the Brachycentrus occidentalis, the big Mother's Day or Tax Day hatch. Like I said, still involving some midge larvae in our nymph rigs. Pretty hard to beat a couple patterns that we've really been successful with. The Desert Storm is one that we go back to over and over again. Smaller, size 20, 22, orange body, black glass bead. The ICU midge, which is just tied on a fantastic wide gap hook, tungsten bead, flash on the sides of the thorax, fishing that in red and olive. Again, like I said, we're starting to involve blue-winged olive nymphs in our nymph rigs. One that I've really personally seen as a very successful pattern early on is the BLM pheasant tail, which has a little bit of flash to it, slight profile. CDC pheasant tail is a strong early March pattern as well. So that's your CDC pheasant tail, fishing that in a size 18-20 as well. Shag Uncle's radiation batis in various shades and colors is always one of our favorites here as well. Again, starting to potentially move into more emergent activity for the blue-winged olives as well. So do keep in mind that you want to be stocked with plenty of emergent BWOs like Larry Kingery's Iceberg Batis, which is a standby on this river. The Loopwing CDC Emerger, another fantastic fly, size 18 and 20 on those as well. And then when we get into the adult category, obviously looking forward in March, we're going to see heavy adult blue-winged olive activity. Your hackle stacker, Quigley's hackle stacker, is a fantastic adult, one of our favorites here. And then the low water batis is another one that last year just came out as a true breadwinner during the BWO hatch in March and early April. Midges are still hatching every day, especially on bright sunny days, so definitely have some midges on you. Adult midge activity can be a lot of fun. Sprout midge is my go-to on the Arkansas. Easy to see, nice post, perfect profile. Also keep in mind, as water temperature raises and fish become a lot more active, moving out of those winter feeding lies into heavier water, into riffles and heavier seams, and just overall being a lot more active, we do see a big upturn in activity on streamers. Now, typically the best time in the spring is late March and April for streamer activity, because you've got a lot of emerging caddis as well starting up. Obviously April, is consumed by that bug activity. So movement really triggers fish during those time periods. But we do start to see fish move on streamers in March. So obviously, so much fun on the Arkansas to throw streamers, and a few to keep in mind that do really well in the spring. And we really focus on small rainbow trout imitations up front, because you've got a lot of spawning activity within the rainbow trout population. Brown trout are aware of that, obviously, and kind of moving on smaller rainbows as well. So a couple lead flies that I like, and obviously always fishing tandem with a larger front attractor fly, and then trailing a smaller, less obtrusive fly. Fishing on heavy leader, on a fast sink poly leader, 2x, 3x minimum, fluorocarbon directly to something like a, olive dirty hippie, which is a great rainbow trout imitation, or something like a baby ganga as well. Charlie Craven's baby ganga, fantastic fly, tandem hook, looks just like a little rainbow trout. And then trailing a little thin mint is kind of my go-to, or a black or olive bars bow face. Really pretty hard to beat those two trailer streamers. So do keep that in mind. If you love to fish streamers, that's going to really kick on here. And we're really focused on water temperature for that, but once we start to see 40-degree water temps, we start to see fish kind of trigger on streamers as well. So a lot happening. One big thing to keep in mind is that, you know, this transitional time period in the spring, the reason why it is so productive is because fish are coming out of that winter doldrum. They're feeding heavily. They're trying to gain calories. That water temperature has them extremely active. Also has bugs extremely active, and you know, stoneflies, blue-winged olives, midges, caddis, larvae, etc. So, you know, just a great time period to be on the river. Beautiful weather, typically 60s and 70s. In our neck of the woods, a little bit cooler in the Salida area. However, some great days up there as well. And one thing to really keep in mind also, we've got a great spring event coming up on March 18th and 19th. It's a full weekend event. It's our giant Arkansas River Fly Fishing Festival, largest event of the year on the river, and perhaps in Colorado for that matter. Great in-store seminar specials on March 18th. And on March 18th and 19th, we also have incredible streamside clinics that are very inexpensive. You can get on the water in a group setting and learn different things. This year we've got another incredible seminar by Paul Vertrees, focusing on dynamic tenkara techniques on Saturday afternoon, March 18th. Very progressive kind of look at tenkara. And then we have the one and only Josh Grapham, Fly Fishing Team USA member, on Sunday morning, March 19th, with a streamside clinic focusing on tactical nymphing or Euro nymphing techniques. Obviously, one of the most prolific techniques to use on the Arkansas River. Fantastic way to catch fish on this river and really any other. So that is fantastic. And then this year I'm really excited to be able to personally present a great seminar, streamside seminar, on switch and spay techniques, so two-handed rod techniques, that are of course extremely productive on rivers like the Arkansas, larger water, you know, as well as smaller water, for fishing streamers, larger dries, dry dropper, even nymphing. So check those out. We have just released those, and they will be available online to book. They are limited capacity, first come, first serve. We're going to run 10 to a dozen students per clinic, so jump on that while you can. Like I said, the largest sale of the year on March 18th, Saturday. We'll have free microbrews here. We'll have all kinds of different stuff going on that day. All of our manufacturer reps are here. You can cast Sage and Orvis and more fly rods than you can ever imagine. Ask about product, learn more about product, and then obviously, you know, if you need gear, it's the day of the year to do it. March 18th and 19th, our Arkansas River Fly Fishing Festival. We look forward to seeing you there. If you have any questions about the fishing in March, and especially early March as we move into that time period, don't hesitate to give us a call, toll free, 888-994-6743, or shoot us an email at any time at info@royalgorgeanglers.com. You'll notice I've got some new logo gear on. We've got a full breadth of brand new logo gear for Royal Gorge Anglers. Fantastic 50 SPF hoodies, t-shirts, obviously a full lineup of trucker hats and standard hats, all with our killer Colorado stone bug logo. Check that stuff out. Obviously, it'll be available at the big Arkansas Fly Fishing Festival. Make sure you pick up that gear. You'll always catch more fish with this gear on. So we appreciate you viewing this report today. Again, please let us know if you have any questions, need any help with your, when it comes to planning a day on the water. If you need a guide, obviously, oldest fly fishing guide service on the Arkansas and only Orvis Endorsed Outfitter. So give us a call. We have limited availability in March and April, but we do still have a few dates left. Thanks so much. Have a fantastic day on the water. Be safe, and we look forward to seeing you soon.